time. I can feel that burning deep inside. Gonna give it all I am. Gotta feel that power in my hands. The beat of the drums rushing through my skin.
We're live from the Plymouth Pavilions, where tonight the new-look Plymouth City Patriots host the Surrey Scorchers. And it's been a difficult start to the season for both teams, but I guess it has to be onwards and upwards in the new year. Very good evening to you, and welcome to our first live game of 2022 and our first look at both of these sides this season. Happy New Year to Drew Lasker and Kieran Achara. Good to see you both. And Drew, back where it all started for you. What kind of feelings are going back standing on this court?
Well, I mean, this is a place that gave me my only opportunity, a place where I won my first championship, met my wife, and so many of these great fans put their arms around a young 22-year-old, made me feel at home. And
it's great to see many of them in the house tonight as well. Kieran, of course, this is an all-new Plymouth side. We used to change in the BBL year on year, but they're taking it to a whole new level.
So much change this year. They've even got a new mascot, a new mascot added to the lineup. But it's great to see Plymouth still around, and a wonderful crowd here. You know they're always going to put on a spectacle and support that team.
Very literate basketball crowd here, isn't it? Now, both teams have had a difficult start to the season, I think it's fair to say, but it's still relatively early doors. What are the ambitions, do you think, for Surrey and Plymouth right now?
Well, it's got to be the playoffs. I mean, like you mentioned, there's a lot of basketball to be played. You look at the table, I see Cheshire sitting right there. Surrey is 1 game away. Plymouth are 2 games away from making that 8th and final playoff spot.
There's plenty of action in the BBL this evening alongside our game. Bristol hosting the league leaders and the champs, the Leicester Riders. The Flyers, of course, knocking the Riders out of the trophy last week. Our friend Mike Tuck leads his Sharks at home against the Phoenix. A tasty tie in the first round of the trophy. Sees the Lions at the Eagles. On a scale of 1 to 10, Drew Lasker, how sweet would a Newcastle win be for you?
20.
Let's do championship games on Sunday. Plymouth in action again. They head to Manchester, while Glasgow are on the road at Cheshire. As I say, Leicester, the champs, riding high at the moment. Unbeaten so far after 8 games. London and Bristol have suffered a couple of defeats each. Manchester currently second by virtue of playing 10 games. Sheffield sit in third. Both teams have 3 losses. Newcastle and Cheshire, mixed bag for them so far, and there's no doubt that Surrey and Plymouth are this season's real strugglers. Unlike the Leicester Riders, the champs unbeaten at the top of the table, as we've just seen, and if that wasn't enough, they've just picked up both the Player and the Coach of the Month awards.
Lovin fakes the 3, drives in, tosses it up high for 2. Lovin for 3, and he knocks it down.
Rob Paternoster, for me, is a future Hall of Fame coach. He has a really, really good ability to get a good group of guys together and play together.
And they've been winning in style as well. The Eagles and the Rocks, both dangerous sides, of course, blown away by Leicester in December. Do you get a sense, Drew, they're getting even stronger, that they're a better side this year than they were last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this team it seems like clockwork. Every year they get stronger and stronger. They stay consistent, and you know what you're going to get out of these guys.
Why do they manage to start the season so strongly year on year compared to other heavyweight teams in the BBL?
There's two reasons. First, Coach Paternostro knows exactly what he wants. He recruits the players he wants, but they always bring back a core group of guys too who understand the league. And bringing back Gino Crandall this year was a huge addition. We took it for granted. A year actually in the league after an MVP season, he's acclimated to the league. He's come back even bigger and stronger.
Speaking of acclimatising to the league, Mark Loving, Player of the Month there. At the start of the season, we expected big things from him, high hopes from him, and he's living up to that billing, isn't he?
Definitely. I love the way he plays. I say it time and time again, he's got such a smooth jump shot, but now he's improved on that, so he's using that jump shot. They know he's a shooter, they're closing out on him a lot more. He's attacking the basket and going after the offensive rebounds as well. He's a great addition to that Leicester Riders team. On
the front foot in the league and the cup final as well, which you can see live on Sky Sports. Leicester, Manchester, 30th of January. Now, let's talk Plymouth first of all this evening. Some new faces landing recently. As a result of that, Drew, is there a sense of optimism that there's more quality, more depth, so that's the reason they can start to contend?
Well, what do they say in the new year, new me? And that relates to the Plymouth City Patriots, as they brought the insurgent of some quality of Americans, and all of a sudden the glass looks half full. There's a lot of optimism here in the city of Plymouth.
And particularly coming off the back of that big win in the trophy against Wales. How far do you think, Kieran, how far are they off putting together a run right now?
That's the thing, I don't know, and no team knows at this moment in time. They have brought in some quality players. I think the way I look at it is they survived the first, now they're looking to thrive. They've brought in that insurgence of players, really kind of making sure their morale's up on the team. And not to forget, they played a friendly game as well against Bristol Flyers and showed what they could do. So yeah, they're hungry. They are hungry. Right?
It's a good point. Let's have a look at the roster then. Look at some of those players that you're referencing. Big scoring guard, Kofi Joseph, of course, one of the league's most interesting and exciting characters back in the BBL, and he is in terrific form. Antonio Williams, one of the Americans, signed only a few weeks ago. Denzel Obiaro and Elvisi Dusha retained by coach Paul James for his Raiders team of last season. Rashad Hassan, another recent addition as well, back in Plymouth. He led the league in scoring with the Raiders when he was here back in the 2018-19 season. So, fair to say, some big characters in this Plymouth locker room, and they'll need to be after the start they've had. Let's meet some of the all-new Patriots.
We could all get buckets on the team, I can't lie. Kofi, he's been cooking recently.
It's Kofi, it has to be Kofi.
I think Kofi for sure. He's got a mentality to score, so helps him out a lot.
Kofi. I don't know if you guys saw, he put up 46 points, so shooting like 70% from the field. Pretty incredible night.
I trust Rowell. I'll say me and Rowell.
Right now, leading's Kofi, so I'm gonna say him straight up. Numbers don't lie.
There is too many guys to pick. I'd say all of our big men.
What? Rowell, he ain't even there. Him or Deji. Slap Cam in there as well. Yeah, like three of them. Donuts.
I'll say Deji, but I'm not gonna act like I ain't done it.
1,000,000% Deji will guaranteed to get you to play, even if you draw it on the board before the timeout.
People say it's me in it because I'm the biggest guy, but it's not true, man.
Nicest guy, Isaiah Walker, because he's my boy.
Most probably is Liam Langridge Barker. Just a down-to-earth guy, funny, nothing bad to say about him.
Me.
I've never seen Cam not happy. If you look at all his pictures that he gets, always smiling.
Cam. I mean, I'm generally happy more time, I stay in a positive mood, but seeing someone else who matches that energy, I'd have to say it's him.
I'd say me.
Best shooter is definitely me, without a doubt.
Liam wants me to say it's Liam. I have to go with Joe Hart on that one.
Joe Hart.
It'd have to be between Kofi or Joe. I would pick Joe catch and shoot, Kofi off the dribble.
Me. I don't want to be that guy, but it's me.
I have to go with Kofi. Yeah, he's a gunner. He's been lighting it up recently, man.
I'm going to put me in there, but it's out of, I'd say, like, me and Joe. He's got a lot better shot selection than me, so he's probably got a better chance.
A lot of guys are going to want this title. It's definitely not me.
Yeah, I'm the city guy, man. I gotta have the best drip.
It's Kofi, man. He's a model. Come on.
I'll give it to Kofi. Model man, model life, model everything.
Oh, man, you're asking a question that you know the answer to, man. I don't even answer it. I don't even answer it. Big up his ego.
I got to look good, so I'd say, yeah, I got the best drip.
It's part of your job.
Ain't it? That's what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
My coach.
I'm going to say coach, man. If it ain't coach, I'd have to say LVC.
Coach Paul James, for sure. He knows what he's doing, and he knows the fine boundaries of how to get a take and not.
Probably LVC. Been in the league a long time. Him and the referees have a tumultuous relationship.
Hungry, growing, and determined. We want to get better, we're hungry to get better, we're determined to,
Passionate, proud, hardworking. Does that count?
A young and growing team, for sure.
We just getting more hungry game by game, and people gonna see it and people know it. Every game they better come at it.
That was more
Okay, my bad. You wanna do that again?
Of all things, I think Coach PJ would not want to hear when his players are asked, player most likely to forget the play, and somebody asks, there are too many to mention, right? Drew, that's not what you want to hear. You would want to hear hungry, growing, and determined, though. And that very much represents the direction this Plymouth side have got to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I can give credit to this franchise is that they've just been out-talented. They have worn their heart on their sleeve every game, played hard, and just come up short. But with the new addition of the Americans, they'll be much better.
Let's get into some of these Plymouth players a little bit more. Then we'll start with Kofi Josephs. He's undoubtedly the star of the organisation. Both of you have played with him. Kieran, what kind of character is he?
He is a character. He's unique. That's the way I describe Kofi, And the big thing about Kofi right now, he's been out for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Right now, he's coming back just wanting to play. He doesn't need to play, and I think that conches his mindset. That's a scary combination.
He's leading the BBL in scoring, 46 in a single game against Manchester. That is the most, incidentally, by a British player in BBL history. Is he in the early MVP conversation for you, Drew?
Well, for me personally, you got to get some wins on the board before we can talk about MVP. But I love the evolution he's shown in his game, scoring 13 points a game last year, bumping it up to 24. Not only known as a scorer now, a shooter, but a scorer now.
He is stepping up. So is Rashad Hassan, a seasoned vet, two-time BBL Team of the Year player. Only just landed back in Plymouth. And Kieran, it's fair to say he's another big-time player that can deliver at both ends of the court.
Big-time player, and so efficient. He was so hard to play against. And, I'm actually so happy for him right now. I just saw that he got to play against in front of his son for the first time. That's the motivation right there. It's more than basketball sometimes. He's back with family. He's happy.
It's a great point. All the places he's travelled and played, and now he's playing in front of his kids. Brilliant to see. Here's Antonio Williams, Drew, another new signing. Played Division I college ball for Kent State, and he's already making an impact, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a slashing guard who has a quick first step, but also an explosive second, third step that can get downhill, dump it off to bigs, or create open shots for shooters.
Now, the other half of that backcourt tag team, first signing for the Patriots' new franchise, has said that he felt that last year was a breakout season for him, Drew, but he's got a lot more to come.
Yeah, I mean, he held down the fort until the Americans came in, leading his team in scoring. I mentioned him as Sixth Man of the Year last year, but with the addition of Antonio Williams in the backcourt, this is the most explosive backcourt in the BBL.
Now, you've both played with this guy as well, Joe Hart, another seasoned vet in this Plymouth side, and that, I guess, is key with the younger players on the roster, that role.
Yeah, he's a calm head, a glue guy. My time with him in 2007, he was the hardest worker on the team, which PJ loves because he's bringing that culture to a very young squad.
Coming up next, we're going to deep dive into the Surrey locker room and find out, amongst other things, who the joker in the pack is.
What if I don't want to be stranded with nobody? Do I have to pick somebody?
That's a tough question. None of them. That's the disaster waiting to happen.
Probably Mac, probably Martel. He's funny, so at least in all despair, I can laugh and joke.
Welcome back to Plymouth. We're around 15 minutes away from tip here between Plymouth and Surrey, and a tough start to the season for both teams, although there have been some high spots in particular for Surrey. They upset the London Lions on New Year's Day, although they then promptly lost to the Derby Trailblazers of the NBL in the BBL trophy last weekend. So fair to say an erratic start to 2022 for them already. 3 wins in the Cup, 2 of them against Plymouth, but other than that has been slim pickings for Surrey this season. How much of that, Drew, can we put down to the quite significant injury problems they've had?
Well, health has been their been their biggest issue. 11 out of the 16 games this season, they've had a different starting lineup. So how can you build chemistry? How can you build camaraderie? I caught up with Creon earlier in the week, and he said they haven't even had 10 guys to work on the issues that they have. So that's attributed to their tough start this year.
So when you're dealing with a situation like that, with adversity like that, what's the solution? What are you looking for most?
You got to have veteran leadership, and I haven't seen that out of Surrey this year. Who's the extension of the coach? Who's that guy grabbing other guys by the collar, holding guys accountable when they're missing assignments? And that's been a lack in the Surrey Scorchers camp this year.
You agreeing with that? The lack of leadership on court is the big problem.
Yes and no. Like I think when you're talking about accountability on the court, I think they need direction in the first place. So a perfect example right now for me is their transition defence. They need direction. Who's crashing the boards? Who's getting back on defence? Make people accountable. So tell them exactly what they should be doing, and then hold them accountable.
Let's have a look at this Surrey roster in a little bit more detail then, and look at the players that Coach Creon is going to hope are going to turn around this season. US import Stanley Davis, he has been a terrific addition. Martel McElmore, very much a fan favourite with Surrey. Taya Ogadengbi, a captain and a leader, although he is out tonight with injury. Jules Dangakoto, a player I know you're a big fan of. Kieran Joy from the Lions, high hopes for him, and another American, Saquon Jameson. The Scorchers have a real scoring and rebounding machine in him. So that's the names on paper. Let's find out a little bit more about this group. Let's get inside Surrey's locker room.
That question, that's a setup question.
I'm not going to say myself. I did that last year, and it didn't turn out too good for us.
Stanley. All-around player, can do everything. Locks up on defense, scores, drives to the basket, super athletic. List goes on.
I'm going to go with Stanley. I'm going to go with Stanley Davis. He's skilled, he play hard, and he competitive.
I'm going to say Stanley. I mean, he just got a lot to him. Like, he can score at all 3 levels, pretty much score. I mean, he can shoot, great rebounder, ball handler, all that.
Best player in the team, me. But I feel like off the court, I just feel like I prepare myself for the things that people see that I do on the court.
All of them. I dunk on all of them. Why not? Dunking's fun. I dunk on every single one of them.
Legend. Easy target.
Legend, obviously, he is 7-footer.
Definitely legend, because in practice, I had him once, just missed it by this much.
I've tried legend about 3 times. 2 times I've missed. 1 time he blocked it. So I'm going to catch him.
I mean, I dunked on a lot of guys on this team. Jeez.
Depends on the day, but I'm going to say Stanley or Mac.
Stanley. I got to go with Stanley.
Martel.
Me and Stanley bump off each other a lot.
Stanley.
I'm not always the one that starts it, but it's just like I'm always ready to go.
This guy just always going 100%, even when he needs to chill out.
Coach will say, yeah, Stanley, don't drive to the basket. First possession, Stanley will drive to the basket and try and put someone into the rim.
That's a tough question. None of them. That's the disaster waiting to happen.
What if I don't want to be stranded with nobody? Do I have to pick somebody?
Probably with Dean. Dean is a great cook.
I'm going to go with Dean, because Dean's a really good cook. So whatever we catch on the island, he can cook it.
Probably Mac, probably Martel. He's funny, so at least in all despair, I can laugh and joke.
My coach, I feel he has a lot of life skills.
Teo, his leadership as a parent, but also his leadership as a captain, he probably has the most common sense.
That's going to be between Dean and Legend.
Dean Wallace. I'm going to just say this. He doesn't get dressed in the locker room. That's what I'm going to say.
He comes straight off the bus, throw his bag in the locker room, straight to the court. Right before the game, he brings his kid out to the court, and he changes shorts and jersey, everything on the bench.
I'll probably say Legend. Like, I hardly ever see Legend in pregame. so maybe someone knows something, but I don't see him warming up.
He won't be there for the warm-ups, and then all of a sudden, like, starting 5 gets called out, and Legend's there. Like, it's just like, oh.
I'm probably in the toilet, honestly. The pre-game, everyone, if you're a basketball player, you know the pre-game bathroom trip is the one. It gets your mind right and you're good to go.
To be fair, it's exactly the same in broadcasting, the pre-game bathroom break, right, Julian? We can't get you out of there before we're about to go on it. Yeah. Did you both have a pre-game ritual when you were playing?
I did. I did the pre-game bathroom break, but also I took it one step further. I took a shower before the game, and I felt it just kind of freshened me up and got me my old stiff legs moving a little bit there.
Did you do that before we broadcast as well?
Oh, definitely not.
We need to work that out. And let's take a closer look at some of these Surrey players. Then Stanley Davis, somebody we are very excited about watching tonight. Drew, you've described him to me as a player that jumps off the screen.
Yeah, he's the one player for Surrey that will get you out your seat and have you say, wow. I mean, this guy's been out for a month with injury. You heard it on the VT. He's their team's best player and the most competitive. They'll be happy to have him back.
Saquon Jameson, Kieran, leading the BBL in terms of grabbing boards, averaging over 17 a game. Extraordinary number. And that explains, I guess, why Surrey are in the top 2 in the BBL for rebounds.
Yeah, he's relentless. And again, another addition that they're getting back. You know, he's been out as well. But his rebounding ability is unbelievable to see. I'm just hoping he's back to, close to full fitness.
Jules Dangakoto had a huge game against his former club, the London Lions, in Surrey's win on New Year's Day. I guess it's hard to establish yourself on an all-star roster like the Lions, so Surrey represents a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, and I think at the Lions he did a big job. He shot the ball a lot better from 3 last season. He actually made a lot of big plays down the stretch to win them games, so he can be a game changer. Right now he's not shooting the ball to the best of his abilities, but I think his defensive presence is definitely needed.
Lamar Hamrick is a 22-year-old American import, first year out of college. You know all about that, Drew, crossing the Atlantic, landing in the BBL first year as a pro.
Yeah, he's a young, raw talent who's just trying to find himself as a pro. He likes to get to his pull-up jump shot, but maybe he's starting to show promise as he just scored 28 against Derby, which Surrey would welcome.
Legend Robertin, final player we want to key in on, 7'1" of him as well, marginally taller than you and I then, Drew. He was a runner when he was younger as well. I was watching an interview with his old coach at Clemson where he played college ball, said he ran track, talked about him running like a deer, but defense is what he's all about, Kieran.
Defense, massive presence. I think he's underachieving at this moment in time. I think he's got a little bit more to add. I think it's just a confidence thing with him. And I think once he gets his confidence up, he could be a real threat.
What a way to build your confidence in front of the Sky Sports cameras and in front of this packed crowd here in Plymouth, which is great to see. Now, 2 very experienced coaches driving the teams tonight. Drew put up with Creon and PJ a little bit earlier.
Coach, your team's first appearance on Sky Sports this season. The guys excited for the big stage?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a good couple of weeks of practice. Got our first win in the trophy last weekend, so confidence is really high, and we're really looking forward to this game.
Well, I think looking back at last season, we performed pretty good on Sky, so I'm hoping that will be some form of good luck for us this season. So really excited to be on Sky. They're big games. As I said, family and friends watching, so really exciting night for us.
Tough start to the season. How can this team get things turned around?
To win some games, but we knew it was going to be tough. We're not crazy. We knew the situation we were coming into this season was always going to be very tough moving forward, but now we feel that we've got the right pieces where we can actually make an impact on the league right now.
For me right now, it's just fitness. We've been on a roller coaster ride. I think 15, 16 games in. We've not had the same starting 5-game team group for back-to-back games. So I don't even know. We haven't really managed to get to who our identity is yet. But there's no excuses. Games have to be played, and we still have a chance to push for playoffs, and that's what the focus will be.
What would you consider success for this team for the remainder of the season?
Well, you know what? If we can scrape into the playoffs, that would be an amazing season. It would be one of my biggest achievements as a coach, for sure. So from where we are now to do that, that would be unbelievable.
I think, just as touched on, playoffs would be big for us. We haven't played a couple of teams, and as we know in the BBL, different clubs match up differently with different clubs. So we'll see how it goes with Plymouth tonight, see how it goes when we eventually play Cheshire and so forth. But there's a lot of games for us. I think we've played 6 games in the league, so there's a long way to go for us, and the playoffs is what's going to be our goal.
What are the keys to getting a win tonight?
Well, really, we've got to play defense. I say the last game we played, we shared the ball really well. We had 6 guys in double figures, and it's just playing that unselfish basketball, really, going through our sets and being meticulous about what we do.
consistency. I think that's the biggest word for us. Is we played against London Lions, played a good game against them. We've played some good games, some good quarters of basketball against Leicester Riders. And, if you can't, that's the benchmark to gauge yourself against, I guess. And we've shown we can compete, but it's about putting in a 40-minute performance. So if we can lock up on the defensive end and then just stick together on the offensive end, we'll be there or thereabouts to get a win tonight.
No real surprise with both teams at the wrong end of the table at the moment that the team comparison doesn't make for great reading. The stats line that jumps out in particular is Surrey in the top 3 for second chance points, Drew.
Yeah, that's an area that they thrive in with the great rebounding of Jamison. I'd like to see them have better shot selection tonight and get on after it on the defensive end.
Plymouth incidentally dead last in opposition offensive rebounds as well, so they're going to need to shore things up there tonight. If we look at the individual team leaders, and Drew, you're looking forward in particular to seeing that dynamic backcourt of Plymouth and the problems it can cause Surrey's D.
Well, Surrey has is last in fast break points, giving up 18.5 a game. I want to see how they handle the explosive backcourt of Williams and Ubiaro, slowing those guys up in transition.
Is that going to be a taller order without Teo in the Surrey lineup?
No, that's 16 points. They're losing on Teo, but we talk about defense right now. We want to see that defensive intensity. Jamison coming back is, to me, is the key point. I want to see where he is, physically and mentally, to be able to make sure they're doing a better job at the defensive end.
We'll find out the answers to those questions soon enough, because there is a huge amount riding on this for both teams. New faces, new hope, and a win in front of the nation would really kick-start their seasons. Tip-off is coming next.
Oh, nice pass for 3, and he knocks it down. What a finish!
Our first time at the Pavilions this season and our first look at the all-new Patriots. Time for Plymouth and Surrey to get their seasons kick-started. Let's get this game kick-started and hand over to our commentary team for the first time this evening. Drew Lask is headed over to join Ant Rowe and Dan Rowledge.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yeah, we made a point about Drew coming home. This is your hometown as well.
Home sweet home, Dan. It feels great.
Well, it does feel great to be down here in Plymouth. It is a great place to watch basketball. Let's have a look at the two teams for today's game. The starting five, starting with the Plymouth City Patriots, and with Ubiaro and Williams now making up the backcourt. That is a lot of athleticism in the guard position.
There is a lot of athleticism and a lot of excitement for this crowd to view, but let's not sleep on that front line. Rashad Hassan, he'll give you the most efficient 20 points you'll see this year, but I quite like Cam King as well. Only 20 minutes of play, grabbing you 6.5 rebounds a game.
And if we look at the Surrey Scorchers, the obvious thing is Teo Ogundenbi not in the starting lineup. Since he returned to Surrey in 2015, he has missed 4 games out of 232. They are not used to playing a game without Teo out on court.
No, that's some incredible longevity. But what Coach Creon has here is, it's been a long time since he's had the services of Davis Jr. and Jameson playing together collectively from the jump off. So I'm really excited to see how this started with this Surrey Scorchers offense runs.
Well, the two teams making their way out onto court, and it is an opportunity to kickstart what has been a turbulent season for both. We talked extensively about the problems that Surrey have had. Availability is the most important ability you can have. They haven't had much of it. The Patriots at the other end couldn't get the import players in early. They've got some in now. This is the moment to really kick off for the year for one of these two teams.
These are two of the most unfortunate teams you'll find in the British Basketball League this year. Plymouth wasn't even a franchise here this summer.
Yep. We are underway, and it is the home team who get us going with the first offense. And Williams, the most recent of their signings, with the ball. Down low to Hassan. Sizing up his opposite number out to Hart for 3. King with the offensive rebound. Williams drives in, kicks it out in the corner. Still no joy for Hart.
Well, 2 good looks there for Joe Hart. Hart wasn't able to knock it down, but great defensive rebound there from Jameson.
Davis. Topless. Shot clock down to 5. Davis from a deep 3. Off the mark. King again with the rebound.
That's a really difficult shot then. Surrey Scorchers is one of the most 3-point shot attempts in the league, and they're going to have to get better looks at the rim here there.
Ubiaro trying to turn the corner is slapped from behind by Davis, and that'll be the first foul of the game.
That's what the Surrey Scorchers are going to be mindful of. Slightly less on rotation here with their captain not playing, so those fouls have to be really few and far between so their star guys can stay out on court.
Top of the key is Hart. Just hasn't found his range yet in this game.
Well, really strange defensive strategy from the Scorchers. Just give Joe Hart an open shot, and so far that strategy's paying dividends.
Williams couldn't quite keep it in bounds. You don't feel it's a long-term strategy, though.
No, I wouldn't want to roll the dice on it, but so far so good. Both teams stuck on 0-0. A minute and a half gone.
Hits to the basket. We have the first score of the game.
And that's a tough move. And Lamar Hamrick's been someone who's impressed me this year. I like his variety on offense, not afraid to attack the rim, and as you can see, fearless in that floater shot.
Williams harassed by Raftopoulos. Hassan puts it on the floor, drives all the way to the basket for 2.
Well, I didn't think it'd be too long before Rashad Hassan got on the score sheet. They went to him early, but he kicked it out to an open Joe Hart, but this time takes matters into his own hands and converts.
Offensive foul on the screen. Robertson with it.
And that's one of the disadvantages of his game so far this year. And Kieran Achara, I think, hit the nail on the head. We haven't seen the mass potential. We've seen snippets of it, but not a full, complete game there. And last game, he was an individual. He'd only played 12 minutes on 5 fouls. He has to be more selectful and more intelligent with disposing of those fouls.
Here's Hassan. Blocked! And that's what Robinson can do at the defensive end.
Wow, when you're strong, you're 7'1", in and around the rim, you're such an incredible protector.
Offensive rebound for Jameson, unable to turn it into points. It's King, back to Hall. Just lost the ball for a second. Williams gets himself some space and knocks it down.
It's a good show for the new man in town, Antonio Williams. Nice little body control and pull-up jump shot.
A slip here. He's on the floor, Hamrick. He's able to get the pass away. They're late in the shot clock here. Jameson driving to the basket, ripped off him by King. Hart lobbing it towards Ubiaro, and that's out of bounds for a Patriots ball.
And that was the strangest sequence of events then, when the slip occurred there. Denzel Ubiaro, like the true gentleman he is, he didn't react. He kind of gave him time to recover a little bit, but can King come over there and was able to deflect that ball there.
King cutting back, door is blocked. Another one from Robertson. Davis pushing hard and gets the shot away. Free on Raftopoulos asking for a foul, not getting a whistle. Here's Williams from behind the arc, and his three rolls in.
Well, his first jump shot got it to go, and as you can see, the confidence can sometimes lead over into that second shot, and Antonio Williams all the time in the world to step into that three.
Joe Hart called for the foul.
Joe Hart just trying to turn up the intensity there and pressure on Kalen Raftopoulos, who's going to have to manage heavy minutes there at that point guard position.
Davis drives in, drops it a little short, and Sam with the rebound.
It's twice now that Davis has drove right, but he's kind of adjusted his body trying to get off that right-hand shot. It hasn't worked out for him so far.
Williams on the way to the rim. Shot is changed, but again, King on the glass. Williams looking for room on the baseline. Finds the sad top of the key. He's normally pretty efficient with that shot.
He is, but again, legend Robertson just rim protector there. You don't always have to block that shot, but he's challenging everything around there. He has got one foul, so he has to be extra careful, but so far he's doing a stellar job inside.
And here he is doing a stellar job at the other end. Left Hassan on the floor, rolled to the basket, and got caught.
It's a great post entry there. And help defense comes over there and commits that early foul before Robertson can get into his stride, because we've seen him posterize several individuals in this league. All of that NBA body, 7'1", athletic posture, really difficult to stop it in around the rim.
Well, Drew, 5 minutes into the game, and they've only got 2 points on the board here. Sorry, the offense is a problem here.
For both teams, you can see the uncertainty as they both need to win this game if they want to realize their dreams of making the playoffs. So the game is starting a little bit sloppy, but I look for both teams to start to settle down as this game progresses.
Williams quick to the basket, trying to find Hassan. It's through his hands, and in transition should be an easy score, and is for Davis.
A great anticipation there from Davis Jr., who was out to the races, and someone coming back from injury. It's a good sign for the Scorchers team that he's able to get out and beat everyone down the floor.
Well, being out with that ankle injury, he needed that just to get his confidence going.
It's the first shot of the game for Kofi Josephs. A little too much on that one. Transition three is all good for Hamrick.
Wow, good placement there. Hamrick just found his spot, was comfortable there in that pull-up and knocks it down.
Well, both these teams at the bottom end for points in transition against. So there will be opportunities like that as Ubiaro replies with three of his own.
It's a big shot there again, Ubiaro. As you pointed out, Drew, last year was that bright spark, and he's carried on his talents this year. I think he's the more complete player you've got this year on this roster in terms of both ends of the floor. He'll give you points, rebounds, and assists.
Hamrick trying to heat one up with three guys around him, got caught, and he will go to the line for 3 free throws.
Wow, that was a odd decision there from the Patriots, as you see, coming off there. And three players go after him there on that shot. And that's when you've got to have that discipline of just staying straight up and contesting in an illegal manner.
And what do coaches say? And don't foul the jump shooter.
Never foul the jump shooter. That could give you a trip to the bench real quick.
Well, they presumably been watching film this week of the game that Surrey played last week against Derby, where he actually almost pulled them back into the game with some quick-fire three-pointers. When the first one goes in, they wanted to make sure they got out to that second one.
Yeah, that was a play that they just totally overreacted on just because Hamrick made the previous shot, which I'm sure he's sitting there at the top of the scouting report. Don't give any space, as he had a great game against Derby last week.
And the scouting report will be hot on that. You know, they shoot 28 three-point shot attempts a game, which is only second to London with 31. So this Surrey Scorchers team is a team that puts up those shots. And we saw in the trophy game, didn't we? You know, they were looking for that three-point shot more than anything against the Derby Patriots last week.
The interesting thing is the foul is called on that is, yeah, I agree. They do put a lot up second in the league, but they're second bottom in the league in conversion percentage. So it's almost like, well, let them shoot. They shoot 28%.
More the merrier, Dan. Just put them up. Well, a big blow there for the interior defense. Legend Reberton picks up his second foul there, and a discussion that we always have. He's that guy that you want him to stay in the game because he's so influential on that defensive end. But here he is again on foul number 2, and how long does he have to sit on the bench for now?
Well, you touched on it, and Karen touched on it at the top. I want to see him live up to his name, Legend. Being a legit 7 feet, he averages no more than 6 rebounds. He hasn't had more than 6 rebounds in league play, so he has to find his niche here in the BBL, which is tough for big guys because this is a guards league.
Well, this is a very guard-orientated lineup for the Scorchers at the moment. Here's McLemore on string with his first shot attempt of the game.
Wow, and that's what Mortel McLemore has. He has that experience. He's been here, he's done it. He understands what it takes to perform in this league.
Thrown away, but Hamrick didn't turn around. The ball was right behind him. Here's Hassan going hard. Hamrick with the rebound. Daniel Kodo, nice pass, and just about that one rolls in for Jameson.
Well, that will do him the world of good. He's someone who's been really active so far in this game. You've seen him snag a couple of rebounds, but the shot itself has been unpolished and not quite there finesse. But that will do him the world of good. Someone again coming back from injury.
By a couple, you mean 6. He's done a great job on the glass early on as Ubiaro gets to the basket.
Do you expect anything less from Shaquan Jameson? 17 rebounds a game, and he's doing it in 33 minutes a game. This isn't a guy who's playing 40 minutes a game. It's incredible numbers so far this year.
The shot is off the mark. Ubiaro with the rebound. You saw Willie Clay, his Kofi Joseph getting a little too much on the shot. About to say we saw Willie Clayton set the rebound record, which had stood for 17, 18 years at the point at which he set it a few years ago, and Jameson is definitely an early season threat for that. Daniel Koda, cross court. McLemore, high with the three-point shot. One that's trying to get the offensive rebounder. Ubiaro comes away with it. Williams along the baseline, no help, and he spins it in off the glass.
And that's the difference. There's a massive hole there about Legend Riverton inside challenging shots.
And that's my worry for Surrey, their transition defense. And like I talked about earlier, a lot of that always comes down to their shot selection. I feel like they have poor shot selection, which leads to long rebounds. And luckily, McLemore makes that shot there. But they got to get better looks. Run the offense, get deep into those sets, get more attempts around the basket.
Tied at 16 in the final minute here of the opening quarter. Joseph driving to the hole this time, clapped it away by McLemore, but the whistle goes. He'll shoot two.
Well, good aggressiveness there from Coty Joseph. His shot hasn't quite fallen yet this year. This evening, and at that time now, hard drive right and gets the defender to commit the foul.
Well, that's where I've seen the evolution of Kofi Joseph's, only known as a shooter in this time in the BBL. Now I see him as a scorer, not just settling for that long distance jumper, but getting to the basket, mixing it up, playmaking a little bit as he goes to the line here for two.
That's 1-on-1.
His first point of the game puts the Patriots ahead. Makes them both. Jameson. Dangakoto now. He's hammering with space for three, and you don't want to do that.
He had a lot of time to get that shot off as well. Patriots have to react and communicate, switch, something. Not give him that much time there.
Bell to the fall-away, nice shot.
That's a tough shot too. A lot of these teams rely on individual talent here to score the ball, but Graham Roel Bell showed us what he can do down low.
Miss Hammer driving in, getting it up on the buzzer. Laying it in for two. We reached the end of the opening quarter, and there's been almost nothing between these two teams from opening tip to the first buzzer. And it is a 1-point advantage thanks to that lane. Well, two very evenly matched teams here at the Pavilions in Plymouth. With just 1 point between them. We will have the second quarter after this break.
The lead changed 7 times in that quarter. Always makes for exciting basketball. Directional arrow is with Surrey. It's Maddie from Sky dancing with Pat over there. It's her first game apparently. Welcome. Many would say she got away with that lightly from Pat.
Welcome back to the pavilions here in Plymouth, where the Scorchers have the narrow lead and the ball to start the second quarter. Here's Davis to Wanless. Wanless with the mid-range. Overcooked. Out of bounds, that will be possession for the Patriots.
Well, not the best of offenses there. The start of the quarter from Surrey Scorchers. You want a ball movement or at least something going towards the rim or attacking the rim. Contested jump shot, 15, 16 feet. Isn't sustainable throughout the course of the game.
Exactly. I talked about poor shot selection, and that's the possession that I meant right there. They got to work their offense a little bit. That's a shot they can get at any time. But let's give Surrey some credit. Weathering the storm early in this game, down 7-2, to go in a quarter with a 1-point lead.
And Conley cleans up the miss from Dusha. Davis to the spin. Tosses it up. And he, I think, will go to the line for two. Yes, he will.
It's great aggressiveness there from Davis Jr. You see hard drive left, but this time spins in the middle between two defenders, and plenty of contact there for the referee to blow the whistle.
And watching Davis, I can tell he's returned from injury, because he just doesn't look as explosive as he looked earlier in the year. But with the more reps, the more time he's out there, he'll start to get more confidence in that leg.
Second one is good. Ties the game at 22. Here's Zubiaro. Takes the three off the ball.
Oh, great boxing out there from Jameson. He's not someone who just snags these rebounds. He's textbook boxing out there. Conley already had a quick putback.
Great block from Conley. It'll stay with the Scorchers, though.
Wow, and positive energy he's had so far entering the game, Conley. I think he's one of those guys that he had a massive role at the beginning of the year. And he hasn't quite figured out where he fits in now that the Rashad Hassan came here, Roel, Graham Bell, but now he's finding a way. He's came in the game, injected energy both ends of the floor, and you can see that big block shot from him.
Pass a little high, even for Overton. He had to wait to come down, and another block from Deji Adekunle.
Well, that ball seemed to hang in the air for eternity.
Yeah, it could have been a better pass on that ball, but this is a play that Legend has to finish. He has to get a wider base, get lower, and explode vertically up into the rim.
Well, he has got an issue with his knee. As you can see, it's taped. That might affect his explosiveness, but stolen away by Adekunle. A little high for Josephs to grab hold of, and another, oh no, McLemore still has it. Pulls up, he's towed the line on that. That'll be worth two.
Wow, that's a big shot just because it was a 3-on-1 transition offense, and if you do not score on there, you've got to ask your decision makers questions, but Martel McLemore takes the ball in his own hands and converts.
Three Scorchers almost left the ball there. They're able to come up with it. Here's Davis at the elbow, off the mark. Here's Davis out, and it's turned over.
And that's a characteristic of a team that hasn't played together for a lot of games. Remember, Antonio Williams, this will be his second game with the Patriots, and a lot of turnovers there, guys not on the same page.
Hassan checking back in.
But this is where you see Antonio Williams has value for Plymouth with LVC and him in the backcourt, because Antonio can play off the ball as LVC is a traditional point guard, and now Antonio can play off the ball.
Quick outlet to McLemore, knocked away by Williams.
That's really good hands there from Williams. He didn't want to foul, so he sort of positioned his body away from the attacking Mortel McLemore, and perfectly timed swipe down on the ball there.
Lobbed into Robertson. Davis trying to go behind the back. Here's Raptopoulos in the corner. Burton spinning into trouble. That'll be a hell ball. Possession arrow will give it back to Plymouth.
Oh, good work there from Robertson, but as you said, you want him to be a bit more assertive when he gets the ball in those danger areas down there. Let's not forget, he's big, he's strong, 7'1". Just has to compose himself there and look for that aggressive move towards the rim.
These are two teams that I question they're on the defensive side coming into this game. But I love the scrappiness that both of these teams are showing. They know what's on the line. There's a huge opportunity ahead to get to that 8th and final playoff spot.
Well, Williams was pumped up after this drive. Late in the shot clock, Raptopoulos is at the halfway line, and an offensive foul called on a moving screen, and that is going to be foul number 3 on Legend.
Third and big foul there. Big man's going to have to leave the game now. But really good pressure there from the Patriots defense. That's not the first time now that we've seen the Scorchers struggle to get into either the ball from out of bounds baseline or get in their sets. But Patriots certainly increasing the intensity there on defense and making the Scorchers offense very uncomfortable.
Well, there is a substitution. Hamrick has come in, but it's McLemore who's sit down. So Graham Raptopoulos rolling the dice here with 6.5 to go in the first half still. Here's Hassan, and he drops it in for 2.
Such a nice touch there, Rashad Hassan. Makes it look effortless, high, floating, soft touch around the rim.
Oh, he's done it again. That is 3 moving screen fouls out of 4 he's got here. He will go to the bench now.
I don't see a lot. I don't see what the referee. It's a good call. I don't see what the argument is for Robertson there. I think that's
I don't put that foul on Legend. I put that on the Surrey Scorchers offense. You know, running some sets, moving the ball a couple of times before you try to get into that ball screen action. So this is where it hurts when you don't have a traditional point guard, because Kalen's not known as a point guard, more known as a shooter, and you struggle to get in your offense.
And Bell strong to the hole.
A tough move there. And nice little jab step and gets away all the way to the basket. But Mortel McLemore again, 3-4 inches disadvantage there.
Davis leaves his man on the floor. McLemore steps in. He's off the mark. Challenged well by Josephs, although McLemore thought there might have been a foul in there. Graham Bell, oh, he ring checked it.
Oh, so you'd want that one back. Coach screaming on the sidelines, just put the ball in the hoop.
Jameson takes the shot, knocks it down. Big shot.
It was. The Scorchers seem a little rattled since the 4th foul there from Robertson.
Williams, a great foul, and this time he flushes it.
If that first you don't succeed, try again. This time, Graham Bell made sure he was above the rim.
Timeout called in the ball game. We're midway through the second quarter. It is 30 points to 26 here at the Pavilions, as Nat said at the top of the show. Busy night in the British Basketball League. I'll just give you some of the latest scores down in Bristol. The Riders lead the Flyers 34-27. They're 4 minutes into the second quarter there. Cheshire are up 8 in Sheffield, 23-31. And I didn't want to give out the score a little earlier in the game for Drew, but I'll give it out now because the Eagles are closing the gap. It's 32-41 in the trophy game against London. They're having a 21-5 second quarter, Newcastle having lost the first quarter, 36-11. So bit of life in the team yet?
Yeah, that's more like it. I thought that was a typo earlier. I was getting ready to phone up the BBL and said they need to fix the score on the website. But 31-22 looks more like the Newcastle Eagles.
And obviously London in the midst of a hectic spell, having been in Saratov in the middle of Russia last Saturday. They were in Aarhus in Denmark to play Barken on Wednesday. And Newcastle tonight. Slightly fortunate, they were supposed to be playing Leicester on Sunday, but that game got moved, which was, I'm sure, very welcomed by the Lions. That would have been a heck of a finish to a 4-game and 8-day road trip.
Yeah, it's tough on an organization, tough on a coach. But as a player, how exciting is that? To be able to travel around Europe, playing games, 3 games a week. Great time for the London, and great experience for the London Lions players.
Davis gets his man in the air, takes the shot, finds the bottom of the net.
That is such a difficult shot there, and look, he makes it, and it's great because we're in 2, but again, shots like these are really hard to consistently do throughout the course of a game.
The sand from just inside the foul line is short. Davis will beat the ball to the sideline.
Well, Dan, you mentioned that Hassan is second all-time in field goal percentage, and tonight he's 2 for 6, already missed 4 shots. That's unlike him.
He's going to be dropping a little bit on that career shooting percentage of 63. Betted only by Herman Harid, who played for Worthing Bears. I think it was about the mid-90s when Harid was around. Might have been slightly earlier than that. Jameson driving hard, no way through, but McLemore able to get his hands on it, and that is out of bounds and will stay with the Scorchers.
Well, that's one of their strengths, the Scorchers. They may miss a few shots here and there, but they're crashing the offensive rebounds. They'll get themselves enough opportunity here with 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
And Surrey just needs to stay composed. Don't lose their composure. The crowds get into it. Plymouth look like they have a little bit more momentum, but they just need to weather the storm.
Raptopoulos got the shot away.
And that's a shot you would want as well. Raptopoulos in the corner for the open 3.
Graham Bell on the trail, jams it in.
Graham Bell just getting whatever he wants in there. Straight line, hard drive to the rim, and another dunk to Graham Bell.
And how is he doing it? Now with the ball in his hands, he's cutting off the ball, cutting to the open spot.
McLemore, that's a tough shot. Rims out.
And credit to McLemore, he's been making that tonight, but overall for the Surrey Scorchers offense is not sustainable.
Dangakoda is going to come in for Davis. You're right, the shots, sometimes you can make shots that are difficult shots, but it isn't a pattern that you want to continue for 40 minutes or is going to be effective for 40 minutes. Here's Williams with a nice shot along the baseline.
Antonio Williams is quietly killing them in the shadows. That's 13 points personal for him. 4 or 5 shooting.
Just kept in the front court by Dangakoda. Hamrick. And again, those sorts of shots don't give you too much chance for an offensive rebound either, because nobody's quite in position. Williams out to Graham Bell, and those dunks have fired him up, and he's now hitting from behind the arc.
Confidence is a beautiful thing, and that's the guy right there, number 21. Graham Bell, get him wherever he wants on the floor.
Well, that has forced Coach Raptopoulos into a timeout here. 2.5 minutes to go to halftime, and what has been a close game is suddenly now 11. This is an important 2.5 minutes for Surrey to get back into this game before the break.
Yeah, I feel like we hear every week, Dan, we talk about finishing that quarter. It can either be an 8-point difference, 4 points for Surrey, or Plymouth the other way. But for Plymouth, they've been sparked by the resurgence of Bell.
playing off the ball, and fans might be saying, well, he's not a shooter. How does he make that shot? With non-shooters, you get going. You get your confidence by getting layups. He's gotten 3 layups, a dunk, and that's how he's able to knock down that jumper there from the left wing.
Whereas at the other end, okay, that shot goes in, but how sustainable, how repeatable is a shot like that over the course of 40 minutes?
Not over the course of 40 minutes. Once fatigue starts to set in, there's very few players in the world, Kevin Durant possibly, guys like that can make shots like that consistently over the course of the game.
And I don't think he's in Plymouth tonight.
Two teams making their way back out on court to get this back underway. The home fans enjoying the situation at the moment. Dangakoda. McLemore in the corner. Doesn't quite get the 3. Batted down to Raftopoulos. McLemore under pressure this time. He drops it in for 2. He's got 8.
Great hunger there from the Scorchers, and Jameson again doesn't get the rebound himself, but absolute problem on the boards there. Creates a second chance opportunity for his team, and they convert.
Williams, a little ball away, is good for 2.
Antonio Williams is having it now. 15 points personal for him, and he's done it in a very efficient manner.
6 of 8 shooting. Dangakoda getting cross court to Raftopoulos. McLemore loses the handle, straight into the hands of Dusha, gives it to Williams, who flushes it down on the break. Wow.
Great fast break. Elvisi Dusha holds it just long enough to give his teammate Antonio Williams enough space to sky high for the dunk finish.
Dangakoda hammering. Short on the 3. Josephs has leaked out. Josephs now. Oh, he gets blocked by the rim.
A second missed dunk of this evening, and Coach PJ will be tearing his hair out on the sidelines there.
Raftopoulos into that little runner, floats it in for 2.
Surrey Scorchers needed that one, and Caleb Raftopoulos has been a little bit passive in this game so far. He's been more of a facilitator. He hasn't been able to knock down the 2 open shots he's had so far, but that was a big one. Scorchers needed that.
Timeout called. I think it's Paul James has called that one with 36.7 seconds to go, just to draw something up, to make sure you get one more score, set yourself up for one more defense.
Well, I know what the key message is going to be, Dan. No more missed dunks.
Yeah, for sure. But it's about finishing. I mean, again, psychologically, you come down here, make a 3-point play, get a stop. You're up 14 at halftime. You come down here, miss. They hit a 3. Here's your missed dunk. And suddenly it's an 8-point game, and that's a big swing in one play, 2 plays.
It is. I mean, we've had a couple tiny momentum springs already in this game, whereby you feel like the momentum's really sort of snatched in the Patriots' favour, but you know, it's been a tough shot made or an offensive rebound here from the Scorchers that's kept them in it. So yeah, PJ will want as much separation as possible heading into this halftime break.
Both former Plymouth basketball players.
Dusha. Williams at the elbow, off the ball. Dangakoda. Broken up, by Dusha. Here's Josephs for 3 on the buzzer. Leaves it short. And that'll do it for a good second quarter for the Plymouth City Patriots. They've outscored Surrey 23-11 over that 10 minutes, and that is why they lead by 11 at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, really strong second quarter there from the Patriots, and I can't help but feel the turning point was when legend Robertin got into that foul trouble. It seemed to deflate the team a little bit, and obviously taking him away from the game leaves a big open space in and around that rim.
And it also, their offense sort of, I'm not saying that he was doing much offensively, but they kind of got into one player doing something, somebody trying to create themselves. Here's the numbers in the first half, and you can see the shooting percentage difference. Plymouth shooting the ball better because they're moving the ball better.
And that's a disadvantage that Surrey Scorchers have right now. They're relying on individual talent, which works to a degree, but when you look at the offense from the Plymouth Patriots, the ball's moving, players are cutting. It isn't one-on-one static offense, and they're doing a great job of scoring the basketball. 43 points at halftime for them. This is a team that scores 70 points per game.
Well, let's get some reaction. Kofi Josephs is with Drew Lasker.
Kofi, 11-point lead going to the half. Talk about what's working well for you guys.
We're creating a lot of turnovers. We're just playing fast. We're playing controlled. We're sharing the ball. Everyone's getting to their spots. And we're communicating on defense and rebounding the ball and pushing it.
And you were labeled as a bucket getter, but Antonio Williams seems to have the hot hand with the early 17 points.
Yeah, that's the thing about our team. Everyone's great. Tone, he came and he's being aggressive. He's shooting the ball. He's doing what he needs to do. He's helping us on defense. He's communicating. And I mean, that's what our team's about. Anyone can get it on any night.
And everyone knows you can score, but what does it mean for you to see that you can do it at the highest level as you're currently our league's leading scorer at 24 a game?
I mean, I've always known I could do it, and it's just nice to put on a show and try and win games every night. That's really what it's about. Like tonight, it's not falling for me, but I'm helping my team in other ways, and I think that's really what it's about.
And it was a mention, you a full-time model. Give it to me. Rate my drip. How can I juice up this outfit?
No, you drip it a little bit, just make the clothes a little bit tighter, and yeah, you good. I like it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
I can attest, Drew Lasker was taking notes as he got that answer. So, a solid first half for Kofi Josephs and the Plymouth City Patriots. It was a tight and scrappy and close affair in the first quarter. The Patriots broke away, an 11-point lead at the half. Welcome back to Plymouth, where the Patriots lead Surrey 43-32 at the half, and it was a tight, close encounter in the first quarter. But Plymouth got their offense in motion, drove away from them in the second quarter, and took a comfortable lead into the locker room at the half. It was hit and miss shooting from both teams, with the exception of Antonio Williams for the Patriots, on fire, shooting over 70%, top scoring for Plymouth. Lamar Hamrick, the leading scorer for Surrey, with 13 in the first quarter. Look at that, Kieran, 9 turnovers for Surrey in the half. And that's very much the issue, isn't it, Kieran, for Surrey? Because they went toe-to-toe in the first period. The offense fell away in the second. What was it in particular that changed? Was it discipline fundamentally?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that from a defensive perspective, you know, they were getting turnovers on offensive end, leading to easy scores for the Patriots. But then they just fell away. They just no consistency. They don't commit to anything. You know, I was watching their offense at the start. They commit to that, and they were going away from that and just taking bad shots. It's a very big mix of different mistakes right now.
Now, in the first half, legend Robertin got into foul trouble pretty early on, and head-scratchingly so, you might say.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, we talk about that discipline. You know, here, you know, he's leaning. You know, it's an offensive foul. Coaches clearly spoke to him and said, look, you can't be leaning on that. He kept him in the game, which was a big call. It's very, very hard to do when you've got a big player who's prone to making fouls, to keep him in the game. I think Creon felt that he had no option, but he kept him in the game, and it didn't pay off. You know, he's 4 fouls.
Did you feel that was a bit of a game changer, that moment?
That was the game changer. That completely opened the game up. He was doing a great job defensively protecting the rim, and that just completely opened the game.
It opened the game up. Raul Graham Bell impressed you, didn't he? Antonio Williams as well had a superb first half, 17 points, and as I mentioned before, over 70% shooting. What
a great addition to this Patriots team. You know, defensively, I'm seeing he's hustling defense, making big plays, and in the offensive end, you know, he's scoring in multiple ways, hitting three-pointers, driving to the basket, great athletic plays, great addition.
And do you get the sense as well, I mean, I mentioned Raul Graham Bell, let's give him some props, 13 points in the half. Do you get the sense, looking at this Patriots side, that there is cause for optimism because there's a lot of range and much more depth in their offense now?
Yeah, and Kofi had mentioned that. You know, they have a lot of scorers now. They've got a lot of players, but Kofi used to be the one they watched. Now they have to scout 3, 4, 5 players who are capable of scoring. And I think the way they're moving off the ball at the moment, making that commitment to defense, they're going to be a different team in this new year.
It's a good first half then for Plymouth. Plenty of work to be done. Second half is coming up shortly, of course. Before we get to that, though, it is the time of the week that is definitely Kieran Achara's favourite moment. It's the BBL Plays of the Week Trophy Star.
To Jackson, extra pass to McKenzie on the wing, drives inside, mid-range 2, great ball movement, and Darian Nelson-Henry jams it in.
Nice play there from the Leicester Riders. Actually thought Bristol did quite a good job there on the rotations, but Nelson-Henry with the finish.
There's a great jam in transition. Leaves his man on the floor, Armstrong. And Armstrong pulling the strings.
Comes out to John McDonough. He pulls up for 3, doesn't drop. And Marcus Dalglish with the biggest thing. Wow! Pulls the ring and hits the thing there.
Flushes it. Harris getting above the rim again and finishing that play.
Evans round the back, lays it up and in, putting Gino in the spin cycle.
Well, tough call then for Kieran Achara's first disgusting play of 2022. Which way are you going, big man?
This was my New Year's resolution, was to raise the bar. You know, I like that Evans place because he's giving Gino a taste of his own medicine. But I'm going to have to go with the Rocks.
Of course.
You know, Harris, just the way he plays above the rim. We know how he plays hurt sometimes, plays through injury.
Yeah,
but playing above the rim the way he did there, that was disgusting.
Smart man told me that once. Speaking of the Rocks, they've got a decent shot at the BBL trophy. If you look at the draw, they're in the second half of the draw. This is the top half of it. Now, London, Newcastle in action at the moment. At the half, the Lions lead the Eagles 50-35. 15-point cushion for the Lions at the half. We've got to give plenty of praise to the Derby Trailblazers, Kieran, taking Surrey out in round one. And of course, there's a precedent here. NBL teams have gone deep in this tournament before, haven't they?
Yeah, we love to see it. You know, it was 2 years ago, Solent Kestrel's got to the final and lost in overtime. But yeah, Derby Trailblazers, great to see.
In the second half of the draw, your Glasgow Rocks sitting pretty, as we said when the draw was made. No easy games, of course, but this is looking promising for Glasgow. Really, really exciting side that Gareth has built to run to the final.
It's a great opportunity, you know, and playing in Glasgow, if they can get to that final, anything can happen.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Seeing the Rocks in the final in front of their hometown fans. Final word on this one at the half. How does Surrey get back into it?
Go back to the start of the game. You know, they were running their offense. They were making things tough. They have to ensure that they stay consistent. I think battling back defensively and keeping their heads up, they stand a chance in the second half.
All right, then. Impressive stuff from Plymouth in the first half. Can they keep that momentum going, that offensive cohesion going? Really would help kickstart their season. Surrey will have something to say about that. It's all to play for in the second half. Is coming next. Welcome back to Plymouth. Second half is about to tip off, players on the court. So let's head back to Ant.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yes, the players are ready to go, and we can get it underway here important half of basketball for these two teams. The Patriots with a chance to win 3 in a row. If you count the friendly game as well that they won in overtime against Bristol here. Beat Basketball Wales in the trophy. And it always helps to send the fans home happy 3 weeks in a row.
It does, and this is a franchise that hasn't been winning too much this year, and as you can see, that hunger and that desperation as well can be a very dangerous combination.
Hassan wanting a foul, not getting one, and the ball went out of bounds off him.
A really important quarter, specifically for Scorchers.
Oh, terrible pass, and an easy score.
Strange, it seems like a real effort for the Scorchers to inbound the basketball. It's not the first time where it's looked really difficult just to get the ball in play.
Well, I'm not surprised by that turnover because I went and rewatched the game against Derby, and Derby did a lot of half-court pressing, and they were really struggling to beat that press.
Rubiaro driving hard to the hole and finishing strongly.
That's a really nice take for Denver Rubiaro. Doesn't settle for a jump shot, takes it all the way to the rack and finishes.
Hamrick, did he step on the line? The referee says yes.
Offense just discombobulated. The ball stayed in the hands of Davis Jr. for a good 10, 11 seconds there, the whole offense, and then one pass and player not in the right position steps out of bounds. Another turnover, 11th turnover, for the Surrey Scorchers.
They've been 10 points off the turnovers so far. His Hart looking for 3 more, halfway down. King with the offensive rebound. Oh, and that one bobbles out. Here's McLemore quickly pushing the other way. Off the glass. Hart did well there. Williams just goes straight down the middle.
It's unbelievable. Well, if he's watched that Derby Trailblazers game, then he'll know that straight down the middle is route 1 to the basket. It'll get you an easy 2.
Well, this is what Kieran was talking about at the top about, the coaching aspect of how this team can improve. But I boil it down. I talked to Kieran early in the week, and he said they haven't had time to be able to work on schemes properly. So this is where veterans need to step in. I don't see one guy out there grabbing somebody, holding someone accountable, yelling at someone. It's like they're accepting blown coverages, accepting mistakes. And this is an area where this franchise really needs to grow in.
How much of that is about the personnel, and how much of that is about the situation, in that when you're losing most weeks, it sort of like goes bad?
Well, that's a great question. But in this sport, none of these guys was forced to play professional basketball. So when you talk about effort, you talk about energy, no coach should have to motivate you to do that.
Here's Hamrick. Driving in, foul is called. They need to find something right now because they're 15 points down, and they look like a team that isn't coming back from 15 points down.
That was a good decision from Lamar Hamrick as well. Didn't settle for the jump shot, which hasn't been falling for the Scorchers. Instead, he attacks hard to the middle and gets the defender to commit the foul.
Well, there's only been 11 fouls in the whole game. Oh, what a finish that is from Davis.
It really is, and it's just a glimpse of his talent, and you think to yourself, why don't you do that more?
The Patriots looking whether that's too hard and could be on the line of an unsportsmanlike foul. There's some discussion going on. Let's have another look on the replay. I think it's just a regular foul that's been called.
But that's my point. After a made basket, one pass, a guy is able to get to the basket. And again, this is when I talk about at this level,
there's no schemes to transition defense. It's all about, first of all, stopping the ball, getting a man. But a thing that I see a lot from Surrey is that they trot back, run with their man. You got to sprint back. Coaches always talk about those first 3 steps. Sprint, get your head on a swivel, get turned around, point to who you got. And this is my issue with a lot of these guys.
And this is textbook 101. That's what you learn at junior basketball. You know, you run back to protect the rim first. What the run does is it stops guys line driving on offense, transition offense, and scoring the basketball, which has been happening on numerous occasions against this Surrey Scorchers defense.
Davis throws it inside to Jameson. Good help from King. I think he got a piece of that ball. Oh, Williams was expecting Hart to drive to the basket. Hart was flaring out to the corner.
Well, Antonio Williams is new, so we'll let that slide. But
to be fair to Hart, tapped his chest and said, "My fault on that one. That he should have driven to the basket." But it's modern basketball. They flare to the corner.
I'll say Hart's automatic default was down to that corner 3 ball.
Trust me, I play with that guy. He loves that corner 3.
Jameson, long 2, off them all. Hamrick with the offensive rebound. McLemore for 3, too long. Davis in the right place and able to finish.
Good finish from Davis. Here we go, one pass again, and shot from Patriots, who really Denzel Ubiaro should do better with.
Well, normally you expect Ubiaro to go in and dunk that. He's so athletic. He opted for the shot instead. They turn him over. Here's Ubiaro, and knocked away by Raftopoulos.
And this is the problem here now. The Scorchers, Stanley Davis Jr. trying to take over the game himself, turns the basketball over. And even when you look at the last play before when they scored the ball, it was one pass, one shot miss, offensive rebound, shot miss. There's no ball swings, there's no cuts, there's nothing from the offensive structure which you'd really want there to at least make the Patriots defense work hard.
And we say all that. This is a game that's far from over. This is a team, we got to remember, 2 weeks ago, they just beat London Lions. So they showed what they're capable of. They just have to get consistent and committed to what it takes to be successful.
Joe Hart knocks down his first 3 of the game. Raftopoulos wide open. He strings it.
Just like that, introduced Angakodo, a point guard, into the equation, and how much of a better shot selection and conversion was that?
And that's great offense. Kalen got his feet set for a wide open 3. You can live with that if it's a make or a miss. Great offense by the Surrey Scorchers.
It's hard. Tough one. Oh, Joe Hart back-to-back 3s.
That's it with a shooter. You give him one shot, the confidence is flowing, and Joe Hart looking like a completely different player to what he was in the first half.
Almost knocked away. Scorchers able to keep it. Hamrick driving hard to the hole. Doesn't get the roll. Ubiaro with the rebound. There's King. Straight down the lane. Nobody does.
You've got to stop the ball in transition. Basketball one-on-one. Stop the basketball.
Well, they certainly didn't. Here is Dangakodo. Hamrick. Shot clock, he needs to shoot, gets it away. Hits the iron, so the ball is live, gets his own rebound, and is able to score.
That's good persistence, good activity there from Hamrick. He's not dropping his head from the tough shot he was forced to take in there. He stays with the play, gets his offensive rebound, and puts it back.
And he's been one of the bright spots for Surrey tonight. I mean, he's played hard from the very beginning, like I talked about at the top. Just a young rookie trying to find himself, but he is showing promise.
A little heavy on the pass. There's only a couple of seconds here for King, who turns it into points.
Wow, that was good defense from the Scorchers there for most part of that shot clock, but Cam King finding a way to get it done.
18-point lead now for Plymouth. Hamrick, tough shot.
Oh, it was indeed, and Lamar Hamrick heating up. Tough crossover pull-up there, and 17 points personal for him.
It's a great move by the young rookie.
Well, there was a delay of game warning there on the Scorchers. Somebody must have batted the ball away. Robertson and Jameson back into the contest, so they go much bigger here. Remember, Robertson has 4 of the 7 fouls called against his team. Here's Jameson with the steal, going all the way and finishing.
Good play from Shaquan Jameson there, just intent and aggressiveness to be able to steal that basketball and run it down the floor and finish.
And if I'm Plymouth, I'm going straight down on the block to Rashad Hassan with Legend sitting there.
Oh, man! What a throwdown by Hamrick.
Where was the pogo stick? Goodness me, he just sort of took off, and it was one of those scenarios where you play a video game and you just press the dunk button and out of nowhere just explodes and lets the camera know.
And sometimes that's all you need as he cocks it back, gives a stare down to the camera, and maybe this is the play that gets those guys, rally the troops, and get them back in this ball game.
And this is a vulnerable position now for the Plymouth City Patriots. At halftime, they had 3 turnovers. They looked after the ball relatively well. Now they've got 7, couple back-to-back turnovers, and then you sort of have that knock to the confidence. Okay, we're not so invincible here. We could let this game slip.
I always think that double figures is the psychological margin, particularly when you've got the score as it is now, where you're in a completely different 10 group to them. You're in the 60s and they're in the 40s. It looks like a massive lead, and then suddenly they hit a couple of baskets and it's down to sort of 7 or 8, and everybody starts to get a bit nervous again.
Well, if Surrey can get this game down to single digits going to the 4th quarter, that would be success, because it feels like a 20-point ball game, and there are only 4 possessions out of this game. So, like we talk about every week, Dan, the last 2 minutes, closing quarters, can they get it to single digits, or will this thing blow up to 16, 17 points going into the 4th?
Well, they've definitely got some momentum off those last couple of plays, particularly the dunk from Hamrick just before the timeout. Can they turn that into a couple of defensive stops coming out of the timeout? Ubiaro. Dusha. Ubiaro in the corner for 3. King is there once again on the offensive glass. His 4th offensive rebound of the game.
Such a huge play. He's very impressive on the boards, Cam King. 6.5 rebounds a game in 22 minutes. Very impressive figures.
Ooh, that just made it to Jameson. Shot off the mark.
Good positioning from Robertson, but again, no composure there, and quick shot, very difficult to finish.
There he is again on the glass, making a nuisance of himself, King. Ooh, just couldn't quite dance his way along the sidelines there, Hamrick.
That's a wild pass from Jameson.
He almost did. He looked like
it looked like to me he stayed in, but
I think the first foot down was on the line. It's one of them. We'll get Nat to give us a wide receiver report. Did he keep his both feet in bounds? Here's Joseph's long threes off the mark.
And this is the difference between a championship team. If you think about the teams at the top, they're going down to Hassan with Legend Robertson sitting there with 4 fouls, and they're saying you're either going to get a layup or you're going to foul me.
Yes.
And they haven't gone down to him once.
Ubiaro replaced by Williams. Cam King sitting down. He's had a real impact in this game as Graham Bell checks in. 6.6 rebounds for King. It might not leap off the stat sheet, but he really has contributed well for his team, giving his coach 15 really good minutes.
Well, 6.5 rebounds in 22 minutes is very, very good. But as you say, Danny, you know, he's not a loud player and out-and-out scorer in that nature, but I think he's the type of player as well that can find himself a really good role, maybe like a Cumley as well, can really come off the bench and inject energy. But Cam King, you know, clearly doing enough here to make Coach PJ want to start him in that starting five.
Surrey with a bit of full court pressure, beaten with one pass. Nangakodo harassing Williams, who's out of the game.
That's his fifth.
Robertson has just fouled out. 11 minutes, but 5 fouls.
Well, sometimes you don't have sympathy for the big guys in this league, but and sometimes you feel like, okay, he's been hard done by, but I think when this is a consistent pattern, when you're playing 11, 12 minutes, foul out, I think you have to take a look at yourself and readjust the way you play, because it's clearly not working in the league or organization that you're playing in, because 5 fouls in 11, 12 minutes is just not acceptable by any standard.
Yeah, and his youth as well. He was in drop covers there, which means he needs to protect the basket downhill, but he scooted up closer to the guard. No big in this league is staying with the guard step for step. And he picks up his 5th foul, and now he's out of this game for the rest of the ball game.
It was a nice pass, by the way, by Joseph to find an open Hassan underneath. Hamrick, pass deflected, but it still reaches Nangakodo. Jameson for 3, way off the mark. Williams with the rebound. Dusha on the buzzer, in and out, and that will do it. And the Plymouth City Patriots are now 10 minutes away from a first league win of the season. They've looked very good through 3 quarters. They will take a 65-50 advantage into the final quarter. Can they hang on, or do the Scorchers have a 4th quarter comeback in them? Find out right after this break. Welcome back to Plymouth Pavilions, where the City Patriots lead the Surrey Scorchers by 15 points with 10 minutes to play as they look to get that first league win on the board. Williams bails out of the shot, gets it to Hassan. Joseph steps back for three off the iron.
Encouraging start for the Scorchers to get that first stop under their belt and see if they can respond to the other end of the floor.
Hamrick. Jamieson, top of the key. That is not an easy shot, but Davis goes chasing after the rebound, can only deflect it out of play.
You know, you want the Scorchers to stay aggressive. They've got individuals on the team that can create through penetration. Danga Kodal now going to distribute to his teammates. You feel like this is a unit here that can put points on the board.
Oh, one is stolen away, but Williams is able to come up with it. Puts a lot of height on that shot, doesn't get the bounce. Hamrick for three, back iron. Good rebound from Hassan, but it's knocked away by Davis. Stolen back by Graham Bell. That'll be a hell ball. Possession arrow will give it to Surrey.
It's just been one of those evenings for Rashad Hassan. The ball hasn't quite dropped to him in those right spots, and frustrating tie up there between him and Hamrick.
Joseph's pushing. Fouls on the floor.
And again, two of the biggest disadvantages this Scorchers team has. It's a quick pull-up jump shot down one end of the disorganized defensive transition set at the other end of the floor.
But this is where it pays to bring quality into the roster of Plymouth City Patriots, because Kofi's 2 points, 22 points under the season average, and the team is still up by 15 points.
And Hassan, an uncharacteristic 3 of 9 from the floor.
What does that take him, the 10th all time?
With the amount of shots he's taken, it takes a lot of misses to move up or down a position.
The good news for the Patriots, though, is they're getting an inspirational performance from Antonio Williams. 21 points for him, and Roel Graham Bell has had that period of time in this game where he's just turned the game on its head. 13 points for him.
To play, still a 14-point cushion. As long as it's in double figures, the Patriots will have no concerns at all. Here's Josephs, kicks out. Graham Bell, back iron on that one. Kakakoto got a hand on it, but Williams was able to get 2 to the ball. Williams, nice pass, down with the finish.
Well, that offensive rebound is a killer because you have to reset and dig deep again, and that time you put the ball in the hands of Rashad Hassan.
That's a great pass.
And Jameson is able to finish it. Joseph's taking it hard to the hole, and he will go to the free throw line.
Nice take, though, from Kelsey Joseph, someone who's not had a good shooting night. Instead, takes it to the basket hard, and brave decision.
Well, he hasn't made a field goal yet, but he was 2 for 2 from the free throw line in his first trip.
And there has to be a lot of optimism if you're a Plymouth City Patriots fan. All of a sudden with the integration of Williams, Hassan, this is not, and we already know the Pavilions is one of the toughest places to play in. This is a team I can easily see picking up a couple of wins in 2022 and making a run for that final playoff spot.
It's not been an easy season for Paul James, but he's played with the cards that he's been dealt, and he's played it well. And now they might be turning the corner and getting some reward. Here's Hamrick, strings the three.
Surrey Scorchers just about hanging around. They've been, a couple of times I feel like they've been one shot away from it being a game over, but here they are again, still with a fighting chance.
Well, it was Hamrick last week against Derby who would not go quietly into the night. They couldn't get all the way back, and here, needed it a bit higher.
That's what you cannot do when you're trying to get back into a game. You have to finish plays 2-on-1 transition offense. And that's a play that can change the whole fortune of the game. That goes in, dunk shot, bench goes wild, team get that burst of energy, but instead, the ball just sails out of bounds for turnover number 16.
And it's 8-3 in the quarter. It's a 10-point game, and you never know, but let's see, can they get another stop? No, they can't, because Hassan just goes straight to the basket.
Well, speaking of Paul James, off the air, he mentioned, you talked about how this has been a tough season for Plymouth. He said these guys making the playoffs would be one of the biggest accomplishments of his coaching career.
And that's a lot of coaching career.
Yeah. With a lot of trophies to the end of his name as well.
Of course, he won the double in Surrey back in the old Guildford Heat days.
This place is such a fortress, you forget. Drew, we've shared some amazing memories in this building. It's not just the logistics of having to travel all the way down to the southwest of England, but this atmosphere, there's nothing quite like it, just because there's no competition. Bristol Flyers being the closest other club, which is a good 120 miles away, and these fans have just been craving the wins. That's all that's been missing really this year, is the wins, and so far, well, recently this club's been delivering.
Well, if you win, I can attest these fans will love on you.
You're both still getting the love in the building 20 years later.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ant got a couple of Christmas presents lying around.
Hamrick with the steal, 4-on-1 hit. Oh my goodness. Macklemore. Oh my goodness.
That cannot happen, ever.
Josephs with the pull-up three. Rebound by Hassan, and he'll turn it into two. And Coach Raftopoulos will call a timeout. I think he might mention that last play. 4-on-1, and they got nothing.
Well, the disappointing part is I saw two guys didn't cross half court. One guy crossed late, and for somehow they still get a layup on the other end. And that's the frustrating part with the Surrey Scorchers. And this is what I keep talking about, is just the effort. You know, you could talk about coaching all you want, but this is your job. You're not only playing for the organization, but you're playing for a job next season as well. You're playing for your career. And a lot of times when I watch the Surrey Scorchers, I don't see that consistency in guys where I might not be able to put food on my table. I might not be able to pay my bills next week. Not that these guys got to depend on basketball, because there's a lot of guys in this league that could do other things, but it would sure be nice to allow basketball to make a living.
Yeah, and I think with this particular team as well, I'll come in and and try and provide some empathy here. You know, a prime example was that last play there. It's a team who clearly have not played enough minutes together. You know, there's zero chemistry there. Even when some impressive shots have went down, the majority of it's been off individual talent, which suggests to me this is a team that not only haven't played together long enough, but also don't trust each other. And just plays like this, we've seen a 2-on-1, you know, turnover. We saw a missed shot there, 4-on-1. That should really, it's no excuse for that, but the excuse I'm providing.
The other thing is, the one was Joe Hart, so it's like, he's not the biggest guy on the court either, so
no.
you can go over him if you're one of the bigger players.
But look, to piggyback off your point, and you know, I spoke to Creon in depth earlier in the week, and you can hear his frustration through the phone. These guys never having 10 guys to practice, and it is a tough situation to be in. You know, I've been on teams where you can't get up and down during the week, and it's tough to work on schemes. Yeah, because you can do all the 3-on-3, 4-on-4 drills you want, but we know that doesn't translate to this environment.
As I said earlier, the best ability is availability, and they haven't had that all year. I don't think they ever had a single game with everybody playing. If you go back to the point at which they had Gilchrist and Andrew Lawrence on the roster as well, I don't recall that maybe there was one somewhere where in the cup group stages where they had everybody on the roster available.
Well, I mentioned at the top, this team out of 16 games have had 11 different starting lineups. They haven't recycled a starting lineup since November 14th. I mean, it's a very difficult situation to be in.
And obviously, going forward, we don't know how long Teo's going to be out with his hip problem, but that is obviously a significant chunk of their offense hitherto that could be missing for a reasonable period of time.
Yeah, Captain Teo is a huge loss to this team. But if you're looking for a little bit of optimism with Surrey, there's still only a game out of the eighth and final playoff spot. So this season is far from over. I remember my rookie season, we were 1-11 going up to the break, and we made a run in the second half, and we finished one game, the last game of the season, losing to Brighton to not make the playoffs. And this is a situation I could totally see Surrey doing, getting this thing turned around.
Then again, Drew, there's 8 spots, and this Plymouth Patriots team looks like they could turn it around too.
yeah, that is true.
Everyone can come to the party. There's only 8 tickets.
And everyone will get better this time of year.
There's Graham Bell. Fouled by the interesting thing is we're having all this conversation, we're dissecting it because it feels like a 25-point game. It's still only 12. We've seen 12 points get overturned in 3.5 minutes. It just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. There are some games where you think there could still be a comeback here. This doesn't have that feel sat courtside.
I think it's because of Surrey Scorchers' self-destructive nature. In my mind, I don't really see them being able to string together a 3-minute period where they are immaculate on both ends of the floor. But you're right, Dan. It's 3 minutes 26 to go. If this was Leicester Riders versus Bristol Flyers, just like last week, you know, it's 12 points can be turned around quite quickly.
Well, Leicester were 15 down going into the fourth quarter, and we all thought they've still got a chance. And they got all the way back to level. They were 7 down with 40-something seconds to go, and they had 2 shots to tie.
But if you look at the other side of it, it tells you that Plymouth isn't quite ready yet because this game feels like a 20-point game.
Yeah.
It should be a 20-point game.
And here's Hart in transition, trying to stretch it to 15, but not able to knock that one down.
Well, it's plays like that, Drew. That's not a smart play. You know, the time's on your side there. You're taking pull-up, contested 3-point shots, and that's the thing that I think we often overlook. You know, it's teams that know how to win. It's an intangible look when you glance over at your teammate, and he knows you know how to win out a game. And these are 2 teams that have not won enough this year, and therefore will show frailties down the stretch.
And you talk about intangibles. That's why I think Bell is such a crucial signing for Plymouth, because in his 3 years in Europe, he's been a part of teams that seen promotion, which tells you he knows how to win, which is going to benefit Plymouth down the road.
Down to 9. by the way, as the drive to the basket will see Ubiaro go to the basket.
As you said, Dan, there's still plenty of time here, but again, Ubiaro just attacks the rim. The defense aren't properly set. He knows that, so he just attacks the rim, and he knows he's either going to get fouled or give himself a very good opportunity to score the ball. And it's really difficult to get back in a game when you're chasing it 10 points, but it certainly help if the opposition are missing free throws.
Well, we might have been winding the obituary a little early here.
Well, I never said this game was over.
He's missed them both. And Surrey can cut this to 6 or 7 here with 2.5 minutes to play. Hamrick driving down the lane, has it knocked away by Joe Hart. Ball still bobbling about. Nobody can get hold of it. Williams finally. And that's an unsportsmanlike foul called against McLemore.
And that's the fine line between hustle, working hard, and self-destruction here. Oh, goodness.
I don't know. I wonder whether he slipped there. I think that's what he's trying to say. He slipped on the floor. Now the question is, if it was wider, if he's the last man, it probably doesn't matter even if he slipped because he stopped a breakaway situation rather than. Let's have another look. He does lose his footing a little bit. He might be last man from that angle, so it might be on that basis rather than no play for the ball or a hard foul.
Well, I hope so, because previously, before that play, 8 guys in total fell down. So what makes it right to call that an intentional foul? But I feel Creon's pain. He's frustrated over here because I felt like there was a foul on Hamrick as he drove to the basket. And it's just when it rains, it pours. And unfortunately, Surrey got the bad end of the stick on that possession there.
Here's Hawk for 3. Off the mark, King again on the offensive glass.
Huge board there. Cam King being a thorn in the side.
And Ubiaro getting to the rim. He will go to the line.
Again, nice move, spin inside there. Then Ubiaro. That's what happens if you don't settle for jump shots. You attack that rim, get the referee to blow the whistle.
1 minute 59 seconds remaining.
There's just a sense of the change in the noise in the building where there might have been 1 or 2 slightly nervous cheers a few moments ago. Those are slightly more confident cheers with 2 minutes to play.
Well, that's a great analysis. That's something you can't pick up watching your TV screen, but you definitely hear the sigh of relief from the Plymouth City Patriots fans.
Hamrick for 3. Over the top and out of bounds. And the Patriots are 104 seconds away here.
Patriots lead by 12.
Here's Hassan. Spinning. That is a tough finish for Rashad Hassan.
That really is, and what a good decision to go down low too. One of the most high efficient scorers down low. Rashad Hassan delivers 14 points. Personal for him, 5 rebounds.
Up to 53% field goal percentage as well. It's just creeping up as the game goes on. I almost feel obliged to mention that when he was playing against Kieran, he only shot 56%. So the fact Kieran's in the building, I think that's had an impact on him today.
Kieran, the stopper.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say Kieran was always known for his defense, but he was disciplined.
Yeah.
He was smart, and so a great stat.
He asked me to look it up earlier.
Well, I was being sarcastic there. 50% is nothing to really.
The 127 to go, 14-point lead. This is a great position for Paul James and for a team that haven't won a league game yet. They've got that comfort margin just to see it over. What you wouldn't have wanted was that point where it got to 9 and then it gets to 7 and 6 and then the pressure really cranks up.
Well, what's good for this Patriots team is this could be and should be a 20-point plus game, right? But it hasn't been, so they've had that little bit of stress, a little bit of adversity here down the stretch, which is really good for teams that are trying to string together consecutive wins because you sort of weather the storm sort of experience there. You know, the game hasn't been without reach, but they've been able to turn things around and a minute and a half still left, but convincingly put themselves in a position to win this game.
And listen to the noise. The fans prefer it to be a little closer as long as they win at the end.
Yes, they do.
Davis driving through. Will that count? Yes, it will. And he'll go to the line for a bonus.
This is a good sign also for Surrey Scorchers. I mean, Davis has had that one of those games. It's been up, it's been down, but when you look at what he's done this season, I mean, that takes him to 21 points personal and 19 points personal. He's someone who's, you know, they need him to be firing on all cylinders. Confidence to complement that also.
And he can walk out of here with some confidence. I mean, to me, he looks like he's about at 80% physically and still being able to put up 20 points. His health is only going to get stronger, which can only be great for Surrey moving forward.
Williams got slapped on the head there. I think the foul will be given on the floor because he passed it, but they're over the limit, so it'll be 2 free throws either way.
Oh yeah, he did get a good old slap on the head there. And Patriots, you know, the guys that they've brought in, they've all came in and had stellar starts, haven't they? Kosi Josephs came in, 20 plus points a game. Rashad Hassan comes in, 20 points plus a game, and you know, Antonio Williams here, his first BBL league game, and 23 points for him personal. Maybe he should just keep signing new players.
Yeah, new guy every week. He scored 25. Minute to go, a minute away from the first league victory of the season for Plymouth. Good block from King. Davis, this time he's fouled by King. You don't mind that foul though. The way he's played, he's entitled to go after that block.
Cam King has had an excellent game. Really liked his energy. I think he's done things in this game as well during, you know, vulnerable times for the Patriots, whether that's been grabbed an offensive rebound, put back, or secured a defensive rebound, or just like that, just challenging shots, making things difficult for this Scorchers offense.
That's the first. On the line for it. Even louder, please. Come on.
21 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals for Davis in the ball game. Shot the ball at 50% as well from the floor. Foul called on Dan Akodo, so it'll be 2 more foul shots.
That's his first personal foul.
Ubiaro makes the boat, even though the second was batted out illegally.
2 from 2, 81-68, 13-point lead. Let's enjoy these last 39 seconds.
Here's Dan Akodo. Now to Hamrick, driving hard to the hole off the glass.
Nice take there from Lamar Hamrick, who's had a really good game also. 25 points for him.
Davis Jr. Blocking foul.
Well, I'm not sure they need these last few fouls. It's a double-figure game. There's 20-something seconds to go. The chances of them missing enough free throws and you hitting a load of threes are pretty remote.
Well, I just see this as procrastination. They're not ready to get back on the motorway back to Surrey. They know it's a long old road. Let's stay here in this friendly atmosphere in the Plymouth Pavilions. It's prolonging the journey.
Well, they do get one missed free throw. Dangakoto for three. Will knock it down. Hassan. And they call it off this time. And the Plymouth City Patriots will dribble it out. And they will, a week after claiming their first win of the season, will claim their first league victory of the season. And they are a team now starting to turn the corner and starting to find their feet here.
And look what it means to the people in this building. I mean, this is a city that didn't have a professional basketball team for a period of time in the summer. No one knew if the Plymouth Radiants were going to come back, if it was non-existent. Of course it was, and then it came for an individual, a businessman, Carl Heslop, to have a vision. Plymouth Patriots were born, and here they are now, recording their first BBL league win.
And for Surrey, well, another evening of disappointment. They are short on numbers. We've talked a lot about that, but there are also other things to fix with this team.
I think so, and as you said, Dan, I think when the availability comes back, I think that's when really Crean can start planning for the long term, and there's corrections that need to be made on both ends of the floor, which I think is a concern. I think if you had a team here that were runners and gunners and were a bit more fluent on offense, you'd think, okay, well, let's focus on defense, but both ends of the floor here needs to be mass improvements for the Scorchers team.
But the focus today, rightly, will be on the Plymouth City Patriots. They had a number of really good performances, led by Williams in his 25 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. They shot the ball pretty well from inside the arc. Not their best night from the three-point line, but they made enough of them. And the key here was they turned those 19 Surrey turnovers into 15 points at the other end, which in an 82-point score is a reasonable chunk.
Yeah, and I really like the energy and intensity on the defensive end from the Patriots. It wasn't the most polished of performances from them, but for periods of that game, they looked really good as a unit on the defensive end, making the Scorchers offense, at times, look, they couldn't muster passes and inbound plays to inbound the ball. I thought they were really, really good. But offensively, Antonio Williams was that shining star. The positive for the Patriots right now is there is so much potential game there. Josie Joseph, excuse me, is someone, 24 points a game. He only had 3 tonight. But what I liked about his performance today, he's a guy that can take 20, 25 shots a game. He didn't this evening. He knew it wasn't his night. His teammates carried the load.
Well, let's get some reaction from our game MVP. He is with Drew.
Antonio, huge win tonight. What a league debut. 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. You seem to want to make your presence known from the jump.
I just think that's me all the time. I think I always want my presence being known. I mean, being out there with the guys, it's our first official league game, and I think we want to come out and show teams that we're a different team, and it's a new year, a new look. So,
is there anything from film or on the scouting report that you can expose the Scorchers using your skill set?
I mean, I just go out there and I play, and I take the opening the teams give me and things like that. I mean, once I just find the gaps, I try to get my guys involved, and that just helps me get easy buckets.
And now with the league win on the board, how can this team rally and make the playoffs?
Man, I think we could turn it all around. I mean, this is just off, 1 week, 2 week of practice, and I mean, we just now getting guys ready. I mean, you see, like you said, Kobe Joseph barely had contributed how he do on the scoring side, but I mean, he got assists and got guys involved. I mean, we got guys that we can all have our best day. So I just think it just shows how deep our team is.
And lastly, I had an opportunity to play here. Talk about how exciting it is to play in front of these fans.
Man, last year it was no fans at all. So when I come out here and I see these fans and they get loud and they get riled up and they get the other team a little riled up, I love it. I love the atmosphere.
Well, great debut, great win. Thanks for your time, Antonio.
No problem.
Yep, spot on, Drew. What a debut that was for Antonio Williams. Kieran Achara, new recruit, the cavalry very much arriving. 25 points, 6 boards, 4 assists.
Yeah, I mean, he's impressive to watch. I love his depth in his game. You know, the outside shot, driving to the basket. I'm obviously super impressed with his defense as well. He sets the tone. But no, I think, like I said at half-time, he's a great addition to this team.
And his physicality as well was something that we were seeing up close.
I was thinking about my playing days, and I love to set a screen.
Yeah.
His build, I know he would go right through me. I would just step out the way. I don't want to get hurt.
Brilliant stuff from him, and he was very much the catalyst galvanizing this Plymouth offense. But there's a huge amount for Coach PJ to be happy about tonight, isn't there?
I'm sure. You know, like I said, it's a fresh start. You know, they've seen they've had a little string of games, a little string of wins. For a confidence as well, it's huge. For the fans getting back into this, they seem like a different team. They're galvanised. I'm sure they're excited for their next game.
Yeah, really are. The future is looking a lot brighter for Plymouth. Let's hear from their coach, PJ. He's with Drew.
Coach, a 9-point win. What does it mean for this team, this organization, to get on the board and get his first league win of the season?
It's just amazing. You know, it's been a long time coming, and we said at the end of the year, it's a new year, new start for us. You know, with the 2 new guys coming in, and this is the first time we've had the full roster to choose from. So had some rotational problems, but you know, it was a great win tonight.
And after beginning the season with an all-British roster, you injected some American talent. Talk about Antonio Williams' play tonight.
Well, I thought he was okay tonight. He was okay. No, he's still learning, to play with his teammates and who can do what right now. So I think it's still going to take him 3 or 4 games before we see the best of him. But he's certainly a talent and certainly someone who's going to help us to some wins.
And Rowan Bell was huge in that second quarter, getting you guys a great spark. What does he bring to the team?
Well, he's one of these unusual players. He's unorthodox, right, the way he plays. But he's as strong as an ox. He rebounds the ball well. He's a good defender, and he can score the ball as well. So, with him and Rashad in game now, and the rest of the guys we got who've been here all season long, I think we've got a good way to go now.
And finally, Coach, how can Plymouth use this game as momentum and push for that final and 8th playoff spot?
It's a real confidence builder, and I said to them, this is one of those games, if we are to make the playoffs, we have to win this game tonight. And, they went out there and they performed. We gritted it out. It was a bit ugly at times, but hey, 9 points, 1 point, who cares? A win's a win.
Great win, Coach. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
Well, if that is Antonio Williams' okay level, and there's a lot more to come, the rest of the BBL should be pretty worried, right?
We've seen the highlights. I know there's a lot more to come, and it's going to be scary for the rest of the league.
PJ was referencing the strength and depth that we saw tonight from Plymouth. That is probably singularly the most impressive thing about the performance, right?
Yeah, I think for me it was, what I'm like, it's defence. I loved that, they forced 19 turnovers today. They were playing as a team, and we're talking about guys like Kofi Josephs, who is renowned for his scoring. He was happy to take that back seat. He was looking for his teammates, getting them involved, give it to the hot hand. And I think that's going to be a hard problem for other teams to scout, because when there's more options offensively, it makes a defensive nightmare for other teams.
Well, let's look at some of the players that stepped up tonight for Plymouth, including Rashad Hassan, back, of course, where he has played and succeeded, and then some before. Back amongst the points as well. He's the leading scorer for Plymouth in the league a few years back. Had more tonight, 14 of them, 5 boards, 2 and a steal, Kieran.
Yeah, he got off to a really slow start tonight, but he stuck with it. He knows his game's got really nice touch round the rim, making nice moves. I love that face-up game. That used to cause me a lot of problems when he used to face up and rip, because he could use his speed. He's very versatile as a player, and he was showing that tonight, especially in that second half. And it's, again, I think he'll improve game by game for this team.
Bro, Graham Bell is a player that PJ was talking about with Drew and described him as an unorthodox player. Can you elaborate on that, Kieran?
I think he's unorthodox because it's like, what position actually is he? He's so strong, he can play inside. He uses his strength to his advantage for the 4, but he can shoot the ball well, attack the rim. And I love the way he was playing off the ball today. He was cutting to the rim and finishing with authority. He missed one before that, but he made up for it the next play.
Given the struggles that Plymouth have had, are you surprised that there seems to be very much cohesion in the camp and a selflessness of Kofi, most notably, given the season they've had so far? That's another cause for optimism, isn't it?
I think that, Coach PJ did a great job of keeping his group grounded. I said from the very beginning, they played hard nearly every game. There was a lot of structure to their game. When times got tough, he reminded them that better times were to come. And I think now they're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's given them a lot of hope.
So the performances were there, the results weren't, but now they're starting to come.
Exactly. So I think the belief was always there. They just knew they needed a couple of pieces of that puzzle, and I think they feel like they have got those pieces now.
Okay, so a big night, a happy night for Coach PJ. What about his counterpart? Let's hear from Coach Creon. He's with Drew.
Coach, a tough loss tonight. What are your thoughts?
Tough, really, like you said, tough loss. Got to give Plymouth their props. They played hard for four quarters. I think that's been our Achilles heel. We don't play the full 4 quarters. And we just kind of like end up going into hero ball, and we got to stop doing that. Like one pass shot. Every single time we got 3 passes, we got a good offense. And that's something that we have to change. Obviously, defensively, we try to slow down Kofi, try to slow down Joe Hart with the 3-point shots, try to slow down Denzel, and then we allowed other guys to go off. So, it's a team game, and it's the score at the end of the game that counts, and we are not losing in.
And speaking of hero ball, transition defense and effort has been part of the reason of your struggles this season. What's been your message to the team to get this rectified?
I mean, if anybody knows the teams I've coached, we've always been hard-nosed and have always played defense. And, that's something that you don't need to coach, effort and energy. And that if you go in our locker room right now, it's just about effort and energy for 40 minutes. I think the big one is honesty. If you do feel a little tired, you got to come out. I think with our injuries, we got guys that are trying to get their legs back in a game situation, and sometimes it doesn't just work. It doesn't work that well. I think Lamar Hamrick was good for us. At a crucial time, he had a problem and he had to run off, and that's why we had to take him out the game. So we lost a little bit of scoring when he went away. But can't make any excuses. We know we have to be a whole lot better to fight for a playoff spot.
And we spoke earlier in the week, and you talked about the lack of bodies and unable to get 10 guys to train properly. How can you overcome this with your injury situation?
I think the key thing is mindset. We haven't played 5-on-5 or done transition for a whole lot of time, and you're a great pro. You can run sprints in the gym. It's not going to simulate a game situation. We just need to keep on pushing, try and get some replacements in as soon as possible so that we can prepare a lot better. I remember having a conversation with great Fab Fanoy, and one of the things was just like going over stuff, making sure you do the basic things properly in practice. And when you don't have 10 in practice, that times can be really difficult, especially if I'm making the 10 in the roster.
And Legend Robertson had quick 4 fouls, fouled out, short cameo. It was talked about at the top, you guys need more from here. Where can he add to this team?
I've had conversations with him, and I think with the modern player, you can demand stuff, but you also have to ask questions. And I asked him, I said, why can't you be a double-double guy? He's got to figure that out. We want to throw the ball into him, so he's got to be ready to get it. And if you look at his fouls, 4 offensive fouls, I think 3 of them were on pick and roll situations. So a really tough day at the office for him. But I have belief in him. I think that he's got the tools that are needed. And so hopefully he'll have a good week. And, we're going to need him against Sheffield when we play next because they got some big bodies.
And finally, just talk about your captain, Teo, obviously missing in action tonight. What do you miss by not having him in the lineup?
Man, it's, tough. I think Teo doesn't talk much, but his actions show. He leads with his actions. Obviously, last few games and even last season, he was playing through injury, and he wasn't able to be the player that he wants to be. And that's why we decided, let's see what we have to do. So he'll see the specialists. They'll make a decision. But right now, he's been instructed not to play. So we're not too sure when we'll get him back. But that's where we are. I think, I'm going to be in trouble with the physio team because I played Saquon Jemison 40 minutes. So I don't know how his ankle's going to react. But we're trying to win games.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made, actually. Jamison's 40 minutes on court. You talked about the absence of Teo at the top, and clearly they missed him tonight.
Definitely missed him. We've talked about all the negatives in this game. Plymouth only scored 82 points. They missed those 16 points. Missed those 16 points from Teo, and they didn't know where to step up from that situation. So I think that was, they've still got a lot of positives to come from this.
All right, let's focus on some positives for Surrey. Lamar Hamrick, I think, is the brightest light for them tonight. 23 points. He was on fire early, wasn't he? I think he hit 13 in the first quarter. Then we didn't figure at all in the second quarter.
Yeah, I was quite upset. I think he had the hot hand, and then he didn't get the same touches. But, you know, he had 28 points again, Derby in the trophy game, and then he's following it up here tonight. And I think, from a confidence perspective, putting points on the board, knowing that you can score, changes your game.
Well, that's obviously something that Coach Creon is going to focus on and emphasise and draw the positives from tonight's game. Antonio Williams has got plenty of positives to draw from tonight's game. He was our MVP, and of course, he was our play of the day as well, because there couldn't have been any other winner, Kieran. I think this might be a lock already for next week's Kieran Achara disgusting play of the week, right?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. You know, I was saying strong player, but that, you know, just finishing with authority, that is disgusting. I've thrown 2 of those in for the new year. That was disgusting.
It deserved it. Superb stuff, capping off a brilliant night for him. Who else has had a good night in the BBL? Let's take a look at the results from around the league, as well, of course, as the trophy game that you'll see at the bottom of the screen there, where the London Lions, Drew Lasker, look away now. 84-70, the Lions take down Newcastle. Revenge for the Riders. They went out in the trophy to Bristol, but they've beaten them comprehensively tonight, 92-64. And perhaps the most important news of the night, our colleague Mike Tuck, who is also doubling down as the Sheffield Sharks skipper, didn't break the franchise record tonight, Kieran. He needed 5 points to break the Sheffield Sharks league franchise record, but he didn't make it tonight.
Such a diva, wanting to do it on Friday night in front of Sky Sports, baby.
Yes, he's all about that, isn't he? There is plenty of basketball coming your way here on Sky Sports, including the Cup Final.
Norton for the triple, hits it and is fouled! Vicker stepped into the 3, knocks it down. Crandall to the spin, oh man! Armstrong looking to push, Armstrong with the alley-oop!
The BBL and the WBBL Cup Final, 30th of January, and next week, as you say, quite rightly, Kieran, Mike Tuck, he's going to do it in prime time. Of course he is. Breaking the franchise record, surely it's in the stars. Sharks fly at 7 p.m, 7:30 tip. That's all from us here in Plymouth. Hope you've enjoyed it. Certainly the Patriots fan base absolutely has. Big win for them, a great start to 2022. We'll see you next week.